My name is Deborah Paul, and I am a tin artist. I've been doing this for several years now, and I don't know anyone else that does quite what I do, which is I take the raw tins, which I find anywhere I can, and then I sit and stare at them until an idea comes to my mind, and it's usually a theme that will gel, and then I'll start pulling tins out of my wall. I have shelves and shelves of tins, and then I will start to tear them apart, and it's a very low-tech process. I rip them apart with my bare hands, and then I start pounding them with my big hammer. In some pieces I make them flat. In other pieces I try to use the shapes that are already in the tins, like in this one. Once I get them all laid out, then I'll start preparing the pieces. So I might cut them out, and then I save everything. I save all the edges, I save all the writing. I have little bins of every different type, different colors, so that I add some of these pieces back in as I go. It just comes together. Sometimes I plan it all out ahead of time on a board, and then I move it over and nail it on. And you have to nail it on separately, because as you start to nail it on, if you try to do it while it's all on the original, it will bounce all over, so it won't work. So the finished product can be very different by the time I get done, because I change things around. There's kind of almost a stream of consciousness thing that goes on as I'm putting the tins onto the piece. For instance, this one that I just made is a self-portrait, and it's me, the artist, and I used an old tin top. I have a collection of these, and then I cut up the tin in the shapes that I wanted and added some earrings, made some earrings for her out of the Kool-Aid container. And there's some little sayings. It says desire, temptation, while there's coffee, there's hope. And there's a little Metropolitan Museum, New York. So I just add whatever little goodies I want to add to it to make it personal. And this piece here I found at the salvage yard, and I wanted to start trying some different things. I had been doing the flat pieces, so I decided to take something entirely different, and I spray painted it, and I used graffiti paint, and then I went back, and this theme obviously is the circus and the animals, and I just wanted to have it. I want my art to be fun, to make you feel good, to make you smile. Everybody's so serious. I don't want it to be so serious. And all the tins that I use have a nostalgic component for me. It's what I grew up with, a lot of it. I found the tin because my husband's great uncle used to do the tin can tin. We had some hanging pieces that he had made, and I was trying to find something to use to express myself, and I had previously lived and worked on a ranch, and I like to use tools, and I like to do tactile things, and I didn't want to spend a lot of materials to start with because I didn't know where this was going. So I started out with tin cans as well, and I made sculptures, and I entered the Red Bull Art of the Can and had an entry that they displayed in Chicago. And so I thought, well, maybe I'm on to something. This is really fun. But then I wanted to use color. So, because I felt rather limited by the tin cans. I liked it, but it was a lot of work, and I got a lot of cuts on my hands. It's hard. I started branching out and looking for other options. And initially it was, the coffee tins, food tins that people would give me. And I think one day I was in the Goodwill, and I realized that I didn't have to work so hard to find my tins, that they were there for the taking. So I started stocking up, and now everyone in my family knows that I use tins, and my friends are starting to save tins for me, and so it expands the possibilities. I have a lot of possibilities now, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. So any one piece might have anywhere from 10 to 30 different tins in it. And you'll notice if you look closely that they're from all different tins. And when I started, I would just use 2 or 3, put together a theme, but now that I have so much material, I end up with all kinds of different pieces added to the tin. I kind of have a love affair with each piece while I'm making it, and I think, oh my gosh, this is so great, I can never sell this. I used to raise horses, and that's the way it was with the foal would be born, oh, this is the one, I have to keep it. And then there'd be the next one. So now each piece, I have to really want it myself before it's done. And when I feel like, oh, I'd love to keep this hanging on my wall forever, then it's done. Then it's at the point where I think someone else would like it too. And now I realize I have to start marketing it or I won't have room. I won't have room for all my tins. And they're hanging up in my house. And actually, my house where I'm at will be the tin house by the time I'm done with it. It's going to have tin on every wall. And we're sleeping upstairs, so the whole downstairs is the studio and the gallery. So it's going to be really something when we're done. My husband is helping me. We're going to create the tin house. What does my studio look like? It's a mess. Well, and actually my studio it has morphed from a small area, and now it's going out into the kitchen and into another bedroom, and so it's going to take over the whole house. But because there's tin, and I have to be careful to clean up after myself because I'll step on it. I just cut my knee the other day because I was crawling around on the floor, and I landed on a big piece, cut my knee. But I'm surprised I don't have any Band-Aids today because that kind of goes with the territory. This piece I did to be a tribute to Santa Cruz. It's sort of the Gonzo in Santa Cruz theme, and it's Bob Marley with carrot dreadlocks and the Looney Tunes. And I had just watched the Gonzo, The Life and Times of Hunter S. Thompson, and so it inspired me to do something fun and different and use the tins, and all of a sudden the tins had a completely different meaning than they had previously. And that's another thing that I'll do is I'll take ideas from everyday life, and something will come into my head, and I'll think, oh, that would make a great theme for a tin. And I see new things all the time. I've made mirrors where it's an old window, take an old leaded glass window and put the tin around the edge, and then put things in between and put the mirror behind. So I tried anything. Anything is fair game for that the tin will go on. This piece here, I looked at and realized I have all kinds of dog tins, and I know everyone loves their dogs, and I got to the point where I had enough of this particular type that I really wanted to make something fun and lighthearted. This one, what I find is I have a lot of these rounds left over, because when I tear the tins apart, they all have a bottom, and I didn't know what to do with them, and so I decided to make some tin people, and it's fun to do. I think that's why I do it. It's fun. You never know what you're going to end up with. You never know kind of how the process is going to go, and I'm really looking forward to my first open studios. So I'm hoping to have all kinds of goodies, all kinds of really fun things to show everyone, because this is sort of my debut. I've shared it with family, I've shared it with very close friends, but I really haven't come out with my tin until this point. So I'm looking forward to it. And we're on the west side. It's 222 Olive. It's not on the historic register, but it's a historic California bungalow, and it will be the tin house. My website is deborahpaulart.com, so that's what I do.